What's up, folks? It's 2Bricks, and I am so excited. I cannot believe I finally get to make this video. It is official. My Ahsoka's T-6 Jedi Shuttle minifigure scale mock is officially done. Mostly. I put an asterisk on that. I give it a Thunderbolts treatment and say there's a little asterisk on the end of that. It's done in the sense that it works. It's on a stand. The stand does what I wanted it to do in the first place, which is to show the full wing without having a support strut like this in the way, blocking your view of the wing. And it functions, and it's pretty clean, though when I take it apart in a little bit and start doing the instructions for it, I will be cleaning it up even just a little bit further so that it's, you know, as clean as it can possibly be, and even just a little bit stronger than it already is, because there is a lot of engineering happening to just simply keep this upright. And I'm really excited to show you guys some of that stuff today. But just give you a quick look here. And I just put my Ahsoka astronaut minifigure down here just to give you guys a reminder of just how massive this thing is, especially on the stand. It is absolutely gargantuan. So yeah, really excited for today's video. I'm going to show you guys what I did, how I cracked the design of this stand, and how to actually place it on and take it off the stand, and just give you a quick review and overview of the features of this shuttle. I don't want to go too much retreading as far as old ground goes, but I just want to show you a couple of the things that I've changed. And for those folks of you who've actually never seen this before and this is your first time seeing the mock, I wanted to just give a quick overview of all of the features you could expect for this. So super duper excited. Let's get in and take a look at the mock. All right, so what are some of the changes that I made to this model? Well, I actually mentioned in the previous video, whenever that was, months and months ago, that I was going to change this top section right here so that it didn't actually lift up anymore, because that actually isn't necessary with just how the geometry of all of this worked out. There's no need to raise this white section up to meet the bottom of the wing, because it already naturally sits at the point where it should for the wing. And so redesigning all of this meant that I could make it a lot more solid, which is really nice. And then I also was able to salvage a little bit extra space to actually redesign the way that these doors are attached, so that they have just a little bit more opening space and they attach a little bit more securely than they did before. They do still rely on droid arms, so that's an area that is a potential weakness for the design over time. That's just par for the course when you're using droid arms for anything. I do still have my custom sticker right here, so I don't want to mislead anyone about that. That's one of 2 custom stickers on the mock. That one and this one right here, this little white corner, which I just had to place here because otherwise this beautiful pattern that is otherwise pristine gets interrupted. So anyway, full disclosure about the stickers. There you go. Those are the stickers. So, but yeah, so redesigning this part, it looks pretty much identical from the front that how it did before, only it doesn't have this little turny mechanism sticking out the side, which I had previously put on there as a way to elevate this remotely. So I'm actually kind of glad it's just a little bit more accurate than it was before now, so that's good. And then of course the other huge change that I made is that I created this stand, and the stand is something that I had a version of before, but it had 4 legs, right? So just a simple sort of little mini table situation where there was a 4th leg right here that blocked this much of the wing and was just really bugging me, because this thing is such a beautiful design in universe, and I feel like, you know, I put so much work into capturing how it looks, and then to have half of it be cut off by the stand just felt wrong. So I spent a lot of time and a lot of iterations to come up with a stand design that actually works, that doesn't fall down. So you can see here from the front, it is sitting, it has like maybe a 0.5 degree tilt in this direction, because it just simply, there is so much weight hovering over this area where there's nothing supporting it. But what I did is I super duper beefed up the bottom section here. I actually created this nifty little channel in here where this section of the build hugs right up against and clutches onto the wing, so that keeps the wing sturdy in place. And there's actually also a support back here which is removable. I'll show you that in a second when we actually take off this from the stand. But so the idea there is the wing is fixed in place. This section is a solid ring that goes all the way around the base and supports it, so it actually holds onto the body, because as you know, the body and the wing independently of one another, so you kind of have to support both. And then on this side I have a piece that just kind of hugs up right against the edge of this wing, and it's actually pushing against this inner surface here to keep this tense, and then that all just kind of helps to offset and support where this support leg is missing from. And of course this big block of bricks right down here just helps to kind of lock all of this bottom section into place and keep everything nice and supported. So on this side we have 3 support legs sticking out to the side, and on this side we only have the 1, and that's just because you need extra support on this side to help to offset that weight. So that's kind of where we're at. And these pillars that hold up the back here are brick built in the middle, so standard brick built construction with Technic bricks interspersed throughout, and then Technic pins holding these sideways built structures on the side. So on the inside and the outside surface, those are bolstering this. So this is super strong as a Technic beam, as a rigid piece here. You could practically build houses out of this material right here. It's so sturdy. And then, yeah, that just all kind of goes into supporting this as much as humanly possible. So one of the things that I did is as I went through, I added the support where it was needed to the design. So like, for example, this section under here, this kind of, corner bracket support right here, I'm actually going to be reintegrating this further into this back section right here, because currently it's just a floating piece that I've added on. So it doesn't connect into this main structure. So for an example of what I'm going to do to make this more clean as I'm going and more strong, I'll be redesigning this to be actually brick built into this structure under here, and then just capping it off with a nice, like a last little slope under here that just dives right into this pillar. So like, that's an example of how this will be extra sturdy, and just everything that I can do to help to support this side to stop it from sagging down. So that's kind of the rough explanation for it. And then of course on this side right here, I'm using a very similar technique. So we have the brick built beam, and then the support structure that goes all the way down here and actually turns a corner and is pinned in all the way through down to here as well. So this is all one piece that gets laid on top, and then you're putting in dozens and dozens of Technic pins along the way to keep that held in place. So yeah, I definitely had to do a lot of figuring out as far as how to get this thing to display simply so that you could see this part of the wing uninterrupted. Seems like a lot of work, but it just didn't feel right otherwise, and now it feels right. So yeah, I'm super thrilled. And the next change that I made is a really subtle one, which is right in here. I simply added a 1x4 tile here in dark red, and I added that across where the ramp, the boarding ramp here, connects into the rest of the body. And so what I wanted to do for that is just, you can move it over one stud when you want to actually pull the boarding ramp out. And so that just enables you to basically lock it into the ship a little bit more securely, because there's a lot of flex and torque and stuff that's acting upon this just in its natural resting state. And so I wanted to have something to just hold that in just a little bit extra so that it stays nice and flat with the body. And so when you're moving this thing around, there's not this extra tension on this structure right here, which there already is, and this doesn't exactly fix that. But what this does is basically make sure that as you're moving it around, it stays nice and flat with the body, and until you're ready to actually deploy it, and then you just place it into the deployment part right there, into that slot, and then you can go ahead and pull it out. So yeah, that's the boarding ramp. Obviously, the ship has to be in landed mode for you to really make use of that, and so you're really not going to be using it anyway while you're while you're just displaying it. So yeah, just go ahead and do that. So that's just something that I like, because it just makes this join feel a little bit extra clean and hidden. In fact, I think many people who build this may end up forgetting that this is even a feature that's in here when they're showing it off to their friends and stuff, because it's so well hidden into the rest of the ship. And something I really wanted to achieve is the ability to rotate the wings around into horizontal while this is on the stand, and to have it not collapse, which is as you can see here what I've been able to achieve. And like I said, there's a lot of stress and tension on this stand structure. So when it's not locked in like this, if you can take this, the main purpose of that is that you can actually access the interior that way, right? Because this whole top section comes off. But I would say when you're displaying it, you really want to have it either sitting on the ground with so you can see here the wing is drooping, so you want to have the back supports engaged. So there's those little Technic pins that engage with the side of the ship there. So you really want to have those engaged and have it sitting on the ground with the landing gear out. You don't want to display it like this long term. But just for folks to be able to show a friend or something what the features of the ship are, I wanted to be able to firstly just have you be able to rotate it, and then also that you can access that top interior section as well. So that was crucial to me, and that's another reason why this couldn't have a support section at the front here, because this wing needs to be able to rotate all the way around and do all of that stuff. So with those supports engaged on the wing, it is still on the stand here, and you can just go ahead and remove this whole section, and you can still access through the little semi-hidden, kind of hard to access button underneath here. Let me just try to locate it really quick with my hand not looking. You can still access the feature where the table comes up. It's a little bit harder because it's kind of hidden behind the Technic frame a little bit, but you can get a finger in under there. So I'm just securing that, and there you go. So the table can come up and down on the stand, and that was again something that was really important to me, because it's a key feature that you want to be able to show people while it's sitting here on the stand. So let me go ahead and just put that back down just to show that it can be done. So I got a little stuck on the way down there, but there you go. Flatten it back down. But it's definitely easier to activate that while the ship is off the stand on its landing gear. But I did want it to be possible, and it is. So there's that. And for anybody who is new to this video series here, so we have the two opening doors here and here, which can open out to the sides. We have this implied door, which isn't actually functional. We have, of course, the training dojo here that doubles as the dining room. We have all of Ahsoka's training equipment down in there, including her training swords and things. We have the lightsaber workshop back down in here, so all the little details for holding your lightsaber bits and bobs are in there, all these little kind of implied drawers and things. And then here we have the hyperdrive room, which is a room that I made up because we know that this ship has a hyperdrive, and we know that there is a central room back here, so I just wanted to fill it with something. And then over here we have the small galley where Ahsoka prepares the tea, and that's a little nod to the scene where Sabine tries to force pull the cup and fails, so I just made that little tea set that Ahsoka brings out for that. So very simple back interior here. This is very functional. The whole ship is kind of stripped down and functional and Spartan in its design, so I really wanted to capture it as best as I could. And the last feature here is that the underside here comes with a built-in light brick, which illuminates this blue sort of chandelier piece right here. This has the trans light blue pieces in it, so you get a really nice colored glow into the back section here when you activate that. And to keep it on, you literally just place a brick, like a 1x2 brick, right in here, and that just keeps the button pushed down. Obviously, the batteries run out fairly quickly on these, so I wouldn't keep it in there for super long. And then I guess, the final features, if you want to call them that, are that you can, place a figure in here who's manning the turret. Again, it's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but you definitely can get a figure in there. So I like to place Sabine back there. And then she has little handholds in here to look like she's really controlling the thing, so I really like that. And then the cockpit as well seats 4 figures, as you should be able to do for a minifig scale ship. And we have the hyperdrive controls, and we have some other control buttons and things in here as well. And then again, the implied door that goes through this cockpit, through this ring here that around which the wings swivel, and then into that implied door back here. And then in this section in the ship is where 2 bunks are located so that the crew can sleep. Actually, you know what? It's 2 bunks on either side. 4 bunks are in there. Yeah. But of course, I couldn't make use of that space because of all the engineering that goes into trying to have these wings support themselves and be able to swivel. So there's all of the interior space. And last feature here is the boarding ramp, which of course can come down with the sort of ladder that goes up, the stairs that lead up, that go into the implied interior of the ship, but that does actually line up with the door that opens in the side there, so that you would actually enter directly into the dojo space through this ramp. And of course there's one on either side of the wing, so that whichever wing side is down, you can open up a boarding ramp and get into the ship. Oh yeah, and I guess I keep saying last feature, but last feature, there's landing gear, which opens up. And so when the ship is on the ground, you can go ahead and sits flat like that, and then the landing gear engages. So there you go. So that's all of the features of my Ahsoka's T-6 shuttle, for those of you who may not know. On a quick note, this side of the stand has all of this extra support stuff on it, which I'm going to try to, again, clean up a little bit in the final design. But currently that prevents this landing gear on this side from coming down. So I'm going to try to address that in the instructions but we'll see. Structure and strength is paramount for this particular element, so it just may be one of those things where you can't deploy one side landing gear while it's on the stand. But yeah, I'll try. I strive for perfection, and we'll see where as close as I can get. But that's that. So yeah, I can still take this one down at least. So really quick, I just wanted to show you all of the steps required to get this thing off of the stand from its vertical configuration and onto the ground. So there are quite a few steps, and you have to do them all in order. So here we go. First thing you're going to do is take off this little support down here, which just pinches the backside of the wing in and just keeps it at the correct angle. So you just pull that out, no problemo. And then for this part right here, so it's sitting in a little channel. The wing is right here, and it's just pinched in there. So what you do is you basically just push up on the wing a little bit to just enable it to release from that, and you can just kind of rotate that out and away from the channel there. So it's just a single plate depth of difference there, and so you do just have to give it that little extra bit of support to get it over that hump, and then the wing is free to rotate once again. Next, you're going to go ahead and rotate the wings around and then lift up these two little flaps right here. So there's two on the top and two on the bottom, so you can go ahead and do both those and engage with the little pistons that hold the wings steady so that you don't have any too much flex and torque on these wings that could potentially damage them while you're moving the ship. So then the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and remove this little Technic axle with the stopper on it that is on both sides of the ship. And then all that's left now is the 4 or I think 6 studs right here that are connecting it to the base, and then 2 studs up at the front. So what you're going to do is just lift it off. You're going to place your hands under here on both sides, support it, and lift it off from the front. Peel that back, and then this back part right here, the plates do like to get stuck onto the underside of the ship, so you may end up pulling up these 1x8 black plates with the design. I'm going to try to figure out a way where I can actually have those not do that, but as of right now, they do tend to come up with it. But I just needed the extra stud connections back here to make sure that the ship is nice and secure, and it helps to, when you actually have the Technic axles that have to engage with the specific part of the ship, it helps to make sure to get it easily lined up here, to be held in place with multiple studs, so that there's no mess up. So yeah, just the 2 studs up at the front here and the 6 back there. And then just go ahead and pull the ship off. Like so. And then place it down. The landing gear doesn't need to be engaged. It will sit perfectly fine and balance right on the center of the ship here. The landing gear is just for extra support. And there you have it. Your Ahsoka's T-6 shuttle is landed on the ground. I would suggest, for me personally, if I was going to display this, I would probably have it on the stand in the vertical configuration. But if you have the space to be able to actually have this be horizontal, I think it looks so cool horizontal actually. And the ability to access all of the play features really easily like that is pretty cool, I think. But for me, the most memorable scenes from the Ahsoka show are when the ship was either low to the ground flying like this with the wings flat, or when characters are like running around on the wings and interacting and stuff like that on the outside of the ship, which you could still do on the stand, but I actually personally, for me, I like it this way. But I'm going to be displaying it vertical because I don't have space. So there you go. The creator of the thing is telling you what to do and then not following his own advice. So hey, there you go. But yes, so the ship is down, and the landing gear has now been engaged. Just go ahead and pull those down, and it just keeps it from tipping over. And there it is. Oh yeah, one other teeny tiny little thing that I fixed or finished is inside of here. You can't really see it. Well, you can kind of see it down in there. On the inside of this wing surface, it was just hollow, and I have gone ahead and filled that in now with just a couple of very simple hinged assemblies that connect in here, hinge this way, and it's got some tiles to keep it nice and flat and nice and light on the inside of that. And that's the last change that I made to the T-6. All right, there you go. I've placed it back on the stand, and we're going to do the outro of the video now. I just want to thank everybody who's been so patient with me about this. I'm afraid you're going to have to be a little bit more patient because the instructions are not yet done. They will be done. I am doing them, and I'm going to be releasing this. Actually, I was planning to do it as a Brick Vault model, but what I'm actually going to do is release it through my own rebrickable page. And part of the reasoning for that is that I just simply like to be able to control the prices of things that I make and what they get sold for. And I don't have any control over that if I release the model to a third-party company like Brick Vault. And also, times are tough. and I simply need to, reap more benefit out of a huge project like this financially to be able to continue doing all the things that I am doing for my channel and for myself. And being more independent enables me to do that. So a couple of warning notes, I guess. The engineering that went into making this happen really is pushing past the limits of what the Lego brick system should be used for. And so this is an insane thing, right? If I was making this as a toy, this would be a completely different beast. Like if I was making this out of like molded plastic toy that you could purchase out of the box, it would be a completely different beast, and it would be much, much lighter, and it would be all kinds of different things. Currently as it is though, to make a minifigure scale version of this ship, it needed to be extremely rigid and have a lot of engineering behind it. But as a result, it's kind of hard to actually use the thing. So what I'm going to try to do is, as I'm going through the instructions and as I'm pulling this apart to rebuild it digitally, I'm going to be trying to make a few tweaks here and there for just ease of this quality of life for the user end experience of this. And also, like I said, just trying to make the stand as good as it can possibly be to ensure that this can sit on here for years and years and years, and that you don't have any worries about it. So that's kind of, my disclaimer. I think to me, I feel very comfortable moving this around because I designed it and I know all of its ins and outs. But if you're, taking this on and off the stand for the first time, I would suggest you have somebody that you trust nearby with hands at the ready in case anything drops. And it is very, very important that when you're putting this on, you support it from underneath as much as possible, spreading out the weight. And, as you get the wings rotated into place, keep everything supported, and then make sure that you engage these Technic axles right here, because that really helps to lock it in underneath to the underside to the actual stand. So yeah, just a couple of housekeeping notes there. I really don't want anyone to have any disasters that involve expensive potential breakages or time-intensive rebuilding. We want everybody to have a safe, fun, and happy time with this model. So those are my disclaimers. But yeah, as I go through and do the instructions, I will be changing things even a little bit further to just make sure that everything is playing really nice. So that's the goal. But yes, instructions will be done when they will be done. I don't know how long that's going to take. I would imagine it's going to be quite some time because it's just such a complicated project. It's just such an endeavor. And, not only do I have to translate everything and then make the instructions, on top of that, I have to actually physically take this model apart, figure out the best way for you to be able to build it so that all of the action features and functions like the moving table and chairs and the rotating wings and all of that can actually be done and actually will work in the real world. So it's a lot of challenge involved in this. And like I said, I am also going to be refining the design for the stand and the way that it integrates into the ship. So lots and lots of work still ahead of me. It may take a month, it may take longer, I don't know. And that's another reason actually why I wanted to distribute this myself. I just didn't want the pressure of not pressure from Brickvault's side, but pressure from myself to deliver something that I had promised would be done at a certain time. I want to be able to take my time and make sure that I do it correctly. And again, I just want to state Brickvault did not pressure me whatsoever. They were actually incredibly supportive, but I just made the decision to take this back into my own hands, just purely because I just think it's the best thing for me to do. So there's that. But yeah, so please do be patient with me as I, mess around and try to get these instructions done. This is going to be, this is the biggest mock I've ever done as far as the volume of stuff in it as a single piece and the verticality of it. It's absolutely gargantuan. It stands almost as tall as my full Hogwarts Grand Staircase Tower, which is like a 4-part build. So that should tell you something. So there you go. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think, because I'm very curious to know, are you excited for this? Are you going to be purchasing it? It takes a special kind of collector to spend the money to purchase the bricks to do something like this. And I'm really curious who's going to be doing that. So thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me. I hope that you're pleasantly surprised to have this video kind of out of the blue, but that I finally did fix and finish and figure out the design of how to make this all work. And I'm super happy to be sharing it with you. So thank you so much. And on to today's patron shout out for the video. Today's patron shout out goes to Scott Severson. Thank you so much for the support, Scott. This is your third shout out, so you get your Star Wars character assignment today. And I'm going to be assigning you the character of Nosreeves Tox. And Nosreeves is the same species of alien that the Chancellor from The Force Awakens is. And Nosreeves is actually a farmer working on a mystical planet near the edges of the Outer Rim, growing force-amplified crops, trees, plants, and fruits. That's actually an emerging kind of science within the Star Wars universe of creating force-imbued crops to be able to see if you can actually gain force power, as it were, from consuming these crops. So the experiments are ongoing, so we'll see what Nosreeves comes up with. Maybe he'll come up with some kind of an organic vegetable that if you eat it, you become a Jedi. So that's a cool thing, and hopefully you get a kick out of that. I wanted to go a little bit more weird and esoteric with my character choice today, and particularly the backstory, because, you know, Star Wars is a wide and weird galaxy filled with the mundane and the extraordinary, and so I just wanted to branch out a little bit on that one. So I hope you like it, and I'm going to be, you know, I keep saying I'm going to be wrapping up pretty soon on all of these, this round of shoutouts, but for the next round of shoutouts, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign each of those characters their own ship, so look forward to that. That'll be exciting. As far as, you know, maybe doing some concept art and stuff, I don't think I'm going to be building physical Lego ships. I'm going to just be drawing what the ships look like. Anyways, if you too want to get your own character fan art, just like Nosreeves here, you can go ahead and go to patreon.com/2bricks and sign up for the relevant tier. You go ahead and get your shout out for the videos. You can get called out by name on screen for the videos. You can come to my monthly hangouts. You can get discounts on my Rubricable page. You can get all kinds of cool perks, and of course seeing my videos ad-free on patreon.com as well is another benefit. So tons and tons of stuff going on. Oh, not to mention the monthly mini builds, which I have just added, the mini land scale builds. Those are also a patron perk as well. So check it out if you want to support the channel, and if you don't, you know, if you don't want to support the channel monetarily, totally fine, totally understand. Please just go ahead and drop a like. That just helps immensely. Subscribe for more videos, share with your friends, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get to work on the next video, as well as the instructions for this behemoth project here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I super duper appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.